Okay, everybody, very, very sorry for that ridiculous delay. I can't believe it was just one simple little switch on YouTube. For some reason, the event got switched to private and not public, so even though I was sending out the invite link and everything, it was not coming through, and so everybody would get the unavailable notice on their on their end. So I apologize. That was just one thing after another with this whole system going down. It all went down on me last Thursday, and I had to wipe my Windows 10 off because there's some weird problem going on that I could not fix it. So I had to send it into the technicians, and they wiped the Windows off and then reloaded Windows 10 on, and then from there I had to reinstall all my programs again, and you know, all the different, Java, Net Framework, and etc., all the recording software and everything else. So, I mean, it was just a nightmare. It's kind of one of those things where you just slowly do it over time. You don't realize how many programs you actually have then operate with on a regular basis until you need them. And then you got to install them all in right then and there. Doesn't quite work that way, unfortunately. So anyway, I really, really sincerely apologize. And if I missed you on this session, I'm sorry. I guess I missed you. But there's going to be lots going on here this week, so I think it's going to be a very interesting week. So I'm going to start with a dollar index, and if you got in a little bit late because you're watching this, just type in the chat. I'll just actually write a quick note to everybody here now. Whoever gets in late, is just so they know that if they need to see something that I already talked about it, just let me know what that is, and I'll run back through it there. Okay, so U.S. dollar index, this is the weekly, and I was saying that we could see some resistance in here, and this is literally the exact middle of this consolidation area right here at 88.88. And what was I calling price to do last week? And it was just hovering. It would kind of stab down and stop, stab down and stop. But you can see here the bodies never penetrated that red line, not once. Did they close below that line, and then non-farm numbers and everything came out, and look what happened. We saw a rebound, and look at this week trading. So I got a couple levels on the chart here that I've marked out that are significant, that I think are going to be seen before the end of the week here, and so let's just go through those right now. One being this 89.93 level here, and then the second one, and this one's actually a little bit lower. Let me just move this one down a bit to 90.97, and then we'll make sure that's exactly accurate. 97, there we go. Okay, so those are the levels that I'm looking for to come out. So I think price is going to do one of these. Now, once it gets to one of these levels, I don't think it's going to stop at this level here. This purple line here, I think it's going to blow through that without a problem. And I was saying to you that it's sort of the quarterly shift is starting to happen. So the last quarter was, if I can remember right, we're right about here, I believe. Well, it's actually right about there. So that's the last quarter, and then now we're into the new quarter again. And what I'm saying quarter, like from the last time that we had a big movement in one direction. Actually, let me just double check. Yes, it was this one. Or no, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. I think it was. I'm losing my place here now. I had this all marked out in my other charts before, and I had obviously lost all that data and information, and so I didn't get a chance. So I didn't get a chance to go through and update everything yet, just because of that. So I just want to make sure, just bear with me for 1 second here. We're December, January, no. So we are back. I think it was somewhere right around here. anyway, this is about right here. Anyway. But so what I was basically saying it was that I think and the non-farm payroll, it tipped it off. That was sort of the breaking point. It had come down this last quarter and clear bear trend, obviously, right? I mean that's very, very bearish, and then wicked in here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and then finally it came down, closed, and then ran up. So it's quite interesting what ended up happening here on the dollar index, but I think we're in for a bit of a shift higher. Now, again, I don't know how much higher we're going to go. I mean, if you look at this on the weekly, there's still room for it to go down for sure. There's still areas in here, and I identified another area right over this consolidating area back in here that we could see. And then I don't necessarily think they're going to drop it that far. I mean, the strength of the U.S. economy, it's not a weak economy, and so there's really no reason for the dollar to go down. As I was saying earlier, they've been increasing interest rates, and so that should start to strengthen and tighten things up, the lending policy and everything, and so you're going to see reduced currency flowing through the economy, which means the price of the dollar gets a little bit stronger because it's a little more sought after, and so I think we're going to see higher prices on the U.S. dollar for the interim. Now that could be the month of February, that could be the month of March. I don't really know exactly how far away that's going to get, but like I say here, our first targets when we're doing this are these right here. So this is our first target here at 89.93. Our second target is at 90.97, and then when price hits there, and to be honest with you, I think we've got another level up in here. See this consolidation up in here? I think there's a very easy chance that it'll blow through this wick here, or these lows in here. But it's an area of support that you can see here. Okay, so prices come down, traded down. And I'm talking about this 91.47 level here. I could probably refine that a bit. Let me just bring this. Yeah. Let's do this guy right here. So as you can see, price had come down and slammed into this 91.45 area here. Once rejected, came down, traded through it, back up it again, and then basically has been acting as a support area for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 2 weeks of trading right in here, and then expanded off, and it's come back down to that same level, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, another, pretty much 2 weeks of trading, and then finally broke through. So I do believe we're going to see some resistance at this level. I don't think it'll stop it. If the price of the US dollar is going to go up, it will go through this level eventually, but what I'm saying is I don't think this level right in here is going to stop it. So I normally, excuse me, 1 second here, I just want to, again, I apologize, my whole system was pretty much compromised last week, and I had to redo everything and reload Windows, and I mean, all the settings and everything now are just, I have to redo everything, so you'll have to bear with me for about the next week or so here, and again, I apologize for the delay getting this session going here. It's a very, very simple fix that I managed to figure out, but it took me about an hour and a half to do it, so I apologize. Anyway, what I was saying is, see these consolidation areas here? This one for sure, we could get a little bit of a bounce down here. So what I think, there's going to be 1 or 2 things that are going to transpire here. So I think I think we're going to be going higher, like I was saying before. Now price could come up into this consolidation area here and then want to come back down here now, because we just left the consolidation area, right? So excuse me, so there's another consolidation area in here, so price could want to come back down to right about there, and then we could see a bounce higher from there. So let me just see if I can't lay this out for you guys here a little bit easier. So something to this effect here. That is and again, I don't think this area in here is going to stall it very much. I think it could be a retest once and then a push through, and then I think we're going to see this. So that's what I'm going to be looking for coming up here, going into February and into March. Again, I think we've seen a seasonal shift. I don't necessarily think that prices, again, just because of, the fact that the interest rates are going up. Trump got on the loudspeaker and he was saying the dollar's getting weak, we got to strengthen it. And that came, I don't know what, 6 months after he got on in front of everybody and said the dollar's too strong, we got to weaken it. So the guy's kind of all over the place, in my opinion. But whatever he says, the market does, and typically, in typical fashion, and that's kind of right around where he said that. I don't remember. I think it was in the summer, end of the summer, and so like maybe in and around here. I can't quite remember when he said it. I have to look that up. But anyway, long story short, I think we're going to see some bullishness out of the U.S. dollar index for the interim. Again, don't know how long it's going to last. I don't think these areas here are going to hold it back. And then what I would be looking for is, and I'm still bearish on this, and I'm not turning bullish until price breaks through here and convincingly, and again, bullish is what I'm saying. Interim, short term, I am moderately bullish, short term in the next, month type of thing. Long term out, I'm still bearish. I mean, look at this, right? That's a bearish chart right there. So until price convincingly gets above these two blue lines right here, up here, I'm still bearish on this. I think, we could see, what we could see is from here, we could see, depending on if it's going to be this level or this level, we could see this happen and have just sort of a nice sort of little pullback, and then another deep retracement down to that second leg that I had identified over here. That could certainly be a possibility. Again, it may take 2 months to get price all the way chugging all the way back up here, but I definitely think short term, I think we're going to see higher prices on the U.S. dollar. And then this really right here, this consolidation here, this will be the test. So one of two things is going to happen. Like I say, it's either going to do this, it's going to come up, it's going to hit it, come back down, retest the old consolidation level, and then power through, or it's just going to, basically just do this and just go straight up from here. That's kind of an option as well too. So we will watch for that, but I definitely think for this week, we're going to be trading in the 89, even the 90 big figure area. So for sure, I think we'll be up in this consolidation area by the end of this week, maybe even by the end of today. I mean, that was a nice big candle that came off of there today. So one or two more equal sized candles for today's trading and Wednesday's trading, and we're there. So we could see that. So we will watch for that. So let me put this in perspective for you guys. If we're moderately to short-term bullish on the U.S. dollar index, we are the exact opposite on everything else, with the U.S. dollar in the back of the currency. So what I'm driving at here is, for instance, the Euro USD, right? Nice, great drive up here. Price is trading higher, bullish. Short-term bearish. So what I'm looking at now is, where would price want to trade back down to? So let's look. We've got a bit of an area of interest right here. And then we've got another area of interest, not necessarily down there per se, but I would suggest probably right up to about there. And then if price is willing and wants to continue to go down, there's a small consolidation area right here. And then, of course, these equal lows under here would be suspect. I'll just drop a line on there. So that's kind of where, and I'm not using the wicks, I'm just going to use the bodies, because you see how these bodies all lined up, came down, hit it, rejected, hit it, reject, hit, reject, and then went higher. These ones here penetrated a little bit. I'm not too worried about those ones. It's mainly these guys here. So what I'm driving at here is, if, let's say, for instance, price has been trading up, starts to taper back off, and then starts going away again, all of the large institutional traders are, they've got their stops here, right? And here. And here. And here. So that's obviously going to be the targets for these guys. I think what they're going to do is they're going to start slamming this down. And again, you know, depending on how deep of a retracement this is going to give us, and who knows, maybe it'll flip over and it'll just run higher. And you know, I'm talking about the dollar index, and maybe it'll want to start getting back up into these levels up here. You know, or I shouldn't say you know, from fall of last year. That could be where price wants to go, and then maybe somewhere up in here. I don't know. We won't know that until it gets there, obviously. So, you know, you just kind of got to, you know, deal with what you got. But this would be a nice range here, and this would be, you know, kind of like the dominoes that I think would start to fall over here. So as soon as this gets taken, then this would get taken, and so on and so on and so forth. I don't know what their ultimate goal is. I don't know how deep they want to take it, but this has been a nice run for a very, very long time. So I could imagine it would be about time for it to start to, you know, pull back a little bit, if you know what I mean, right? You know, it's really stretched its legs, and I'm just going to drop a line on the high over here. You can see what price did, came up, took out the highs of these bodies here, and then I think we're going to see some good rejection. And, you know, a nice level on the weekly. I'm on the weekly chart right now. That old high right there, you know, that could be even a target, and that's still, you know, that's 300 pips away from where we are right now. That would be a nice retracement, and that would be kind of like an interim target, I think. So right here, so pretty much the first liquidity pool under here, I think would be a good target that price would probably stretch for. So we will look for that on the euro. The pound dollar, same idea. On the weekly, it actually hit a pretty, where am I here? I just want to mark off the high, the candle high, and then the high of the body, which came in at, 1 second, open, close, there it is, 141.50. I just want to make sure I got the right levels here. 141.50. There. You got to be precise. So, yeah, price came up and it slammed right back into this consolidation area here, as I had said, and that we have to watch for a potential bounce. It's right where price hit into, and now we've right, and the price really didn't go anywhere for the past 2 weeks. So last week we got this doji looking candle right here, and the week before that, that's when we saw the nice breakout and the power up. And I was hoping that we would have seen higher prices up to here. I was calling this high here would have been a great level to see price get into, but you got to think, you know, prices really starts to get overstretched and over, you know, worked, and I'd actually would have been quite shocked to see them just power it up right through, you know, just week after week, and just big bold green candles up into there and to take it out. I don't think that's going to quite happen yet, but I do think that overall it will get there before the end of the year. I think this is where we're going to be, and I mean, I'll go on record to say that I got no problem with that. I mean, look where we've come from, right? I mean, look at this thing. Look where we've come from and how far they dropped this thing down. Like, those are levels that we haven't seen since chart shift is on. So what was the low? 122 basically, and I don't even think we have, yeah, like they haven't taken it that low. This chart only goes back to, you know, September 1st, 1996. I'm sure it's been lower than that before, but you can see this, like, they are crushing this pound dollar, the pound sterling. So I could see them sitting back saying, okay, we've crushed it, now it's time to start getting some of the liquidity above the market here, this pre-Brexit and everything else. So I think that's where they're going to be headed. You know, like I say, I mean, if we go back into theory of this, you know, quarterly shift here, that's just occurred, and I think that we're into now. I think we're going to see a higher, right, prices in the US dollar, as I was saying. What I think they could be doing is drifting this down now to grab some of the liquidity, you know, maybe below here. Let's actually, while we're looking at this, let's just have a look and see where it is. So first off, let's just identify, just kind of getting ahead of myself here, let's just identify a couple areas. We've got a very small area consolidation right there. Price powered up through here, and this was a long area consolidation right in here. And then, not quite that big. And then we had another one down in here. Now price drifted down and then finally it started to kind of chop right in here. So I'm going to identify this and this big bold down candle right in here as well too. And I'm going to actually grab that little guy there too. And then the next area from there, and this, this would be quite a deep retracement if this happened, but that would be the next one there. But you can see here, they left it fairly neat down here. I mean, if someone's going to sit, if a big institution is going to get long, you know, and let's say they got long down here, this would be a great area to jam their stop, right in here, right? And then right here as well too. So there's a couple potential areas that I'm looking at on the pound dollar. But it all depends on, again, how deep the US dollar wants to come back up and how deep we're going to get a retracement in here. Now, the other thing, there's another thing you got to factor in as well, too, and that's this guy here, the Euro GBP. So this is the Euro dollar and sorry, not the Euro dollar, the Euro and the pound sterling combined. And, you know, crossed with the US dollar. Obviously the US dollar is going to be the main driving factor, but this is also a very, very important factor that you have to take into account. And this is more day-to-day stuff. You know, I'm not going to get into it too much here, but basically if this is moving, this should, sorry, if the euro is moving, the pound dollar should be either consolidating. So let's say this is going higher. This should be, what they typically do is they'll consolidate it for a little while, and then while the euro is running, they'll consolidate this, and then when the euro stops running, they'll move this, and so on and so on. And you can see that here. You can see this consolidation here. Didn't really have a huge consolidation. The price was mainly pushing up all in, and I'm talking this area right in here. So they typically allow one to move over the other, but if this is going, where am I here? Sorry guys, I'm going to slide this over here, get my bearings in. So if this is driving higher, typically the Euro USD will be driving lower, and I'm sorry, the Euro USD will be driving higher, and then the pound dollar will be driving lower. So there's a number of things to factor with the US dollar, the Euro GBP, Euro USD, and the pound dollar all in one. So anyway, I think we're going to see some lower prices here. We may just, this could just be today. I want to drop down to an hourly because I think there could be a good trade on this today. And I was looking at this here a few hours ago, and price has just been sitting here, chop, 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 chop. Kind of like what it was doing up here. You can see up here. Let me just drop a box on this guy here. So price was kind of stabbed up once, dropped down, and then just chopped sideways, and then finally stabbed up one last time and fell out of bed. And that was a nice move down to that we had on Tuesday, or I'm sorry, on Monday. I mean, that was a 200 pip move. And I think we could see something similar again. You know, all depending, right? I mean, this is all depending on what we got happening right here. So if I drop down to an hourly on this, right, price is starting to come back down. I'd like to see it touch back in this consolidation area again. And then drive higher from there. So what I'm looking on the Euro US, or I'm sorry, on the pound dollar is something similar. So we see a bit of a retracement higher, and then it falling out and going lower. Now I don't want to see price go any, I mean price, it could come all the way up to here. I don't think it's going to do it today. I mean, if they're going to drop this lower, let me put it that way. If they're going to run it higher, then it's going to go through here. I mean, that's right. If this was a fake out, let me put it that way. If this is a fake out here and prices drop down just to kind of clean out these lows here, and then they're going to ram it back, then obviously none of this matters, right? I mean, none of the you know, US dollar index commentary is going to matter. I don't think that's what's going to happen there, and mainly because of this. Right, they're doing something over here, which is I'm going to talk about here in a minute, but that's why I think we've seen a shift, mainly. And that's one of the causing factors. And if you guys didn't see that today, That's the S&P 500. The Dow also did it. I don't have a chart of the Dow up. And the NASDAQ. I mean, they all just got butchered. This is huge. I mean, I did it today, actually. It was a, I took a chart. So from January 1st, I don't know if you guys have probably all done this as well too, but January 1st is, call it this low here. So from the low of January, oh, I'm sorry, I'm over one too many here. Let me try that again. I got this fib on here. Where the hell was January 1st? January 1st, 2017, right here. Okay. Let's grab this fib. Look at this. So this was the low January, so basically 1 year ago. 1 year ago and a month ago, January 1st, 2017, to the high, which was January 29th, 2018. So 1 year ago. And look at what this thing's already given up. This thing gave back almost over 50% of that move already. And that is unbelievable. It took them 1 year and 29 days to smash price all the way up here, just to crush it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. 50%. I mean, let that sink in for a minute. I mean, God help you if you got any, if you have a lot of money in mutual funds or friggin' IRAs or RRSPs or whatever else. I mean, you got hurt. And who knows what's going to happen. I mean, I'm going to come back to this in a minute, but anyway, I just keep that in mind here. So this is, again, what I'm saying to you, back to the pound dollar. I'm looking for a trade in this tonight, and I'm just going to drop down to 15, but I think this is what we're going to see. I don't think, I mean, I'd be surprised if price wants to come all the way back up to here, because, I mean, that'd be, you know, that's 100 pip swing up just for them to drop it down again. I don't think that's necessary, and I think what they're going to want to do is they're going to want to trap whoever has been going long, right? So I'm sure a lot of guys came down to here. They saw price drop down. Oh, look, it's come down to an obvious level to buy, and let's buy it from here, and you know, put our stop under here or something like that. Or God, who knows? Maybe they even went even lower. Maybe they put their stop under here, thinking it's going to go higher, and then they're just going to smash it down, smash it down, smash it down. And I think that's what we're going to see here. So I want to drop down to the 15. And you can see how price has just really been working in this area here, and it's creating these equal lows down here for a reason. You know, I mean, everyone's thinking this is going higher, right? You see this. If you're a typical retail trader, what does this tell you? Resistance or support, right? Price comes down, bangs once, bangs twice, bangs 3 times, comes down here, failure swing. Oh, let's get long. Right, this thing's going higher. We're going to go back up. We're going to go see these old highs over here. I don't think so. I think what they're going to do is they're going to come up to here, probably right in this area here. I'm going to borrow this, shrink her down a little, so you can kind of see what I'm driving at here. And I would say somewhere in there, somewhere in this neighborhood, I think they're going to run price up to. I would be surprised if they went much higher. They got them with the wicks over here. Yeah, I mean, that's that would be a safe move. So about 20 pips, 20 pips-ish from here, 20 or less anyways. So what I'm suggesting here, if price comes up to this level, and I'll just put a marker on it here. Oh, look at that. And I didn't even realize that. And that is... Look at that. You can get an even more of an obvious number than that. I think... And just be careful. They may run it another 20 pips higher. I have seen them like to run things up to After the, so my target would be big figure, so 1.4 big figure. I think this could be a possibility too, that they might want to just run it up for good measure, just to make people second guess themselves. So I would suggest somewhere in here that could be a good area for a short. And where are we going? What's our target? Well, I would suggest starting probably over in this area in here somewhere. Let me just draw some levels here. I'm just trying to refine this down. I'm going to get rid of this guy here. And let's look at some levels. There's the first level there for sure. So that would be an even 85 pips from our entry if we got in, if we got short up here. And then from there, you know, you just pick every single low on the chart, and that's kind of where they may potentially take it. Let's just whip out to a daily. Yeah, and that would be, this would be a big area. This would be an area in here. I'd actually like to throw one more line on here, and I'll just change it out so you can identify when we drop down to a lower time frame. Make it green. So what I'm thinking here, there's that green line. This could be a nice weekly range. Maybe not 1 week. I mean, that's quite a ways away. Let me just get an idea. 300 pips. You know what? That is actually very possible for this week. I've seen them smash cable down more than that in a week. So if they really want to take this market south, then that could be a very good target for the week. And I don't think, you know, there's a lot of areas in here, like typically, you know, you get a couple drives down, you know, 1, 2, 3 drives down, and then they start to reverse it. I just don't see this as a reversal. I think it's just going to be a continuation. And I mean, like I say, like look at the move up here that they gave this thing. They really push it higher. I think if they wanted to go higher, it would have happened, and I don't necessarily know that price would have come down below this low here, because they came down, they stabbed down, they cleaned all the liquidity up in here, ripped it higher, failure, right? It's a big failure swing right in here. Let's see if I can get that level. I hate trend lines sometimes. Close enough. But you can see in here, failure swing, right? They did not want to get it higher than there, and then they smashed it down. They're not bringing it down here, I don't think, just to grab the liquidity under here, because it was just such a short wick, and then it stabbed up and ran higher. You know, I just don't necessarily think that this is just another liquidity run. And again, just because of the US dollar, you know, the quarterly shift, the, you know, season of it, the fact that, where the hell was it? The fact that, you know, this thing experienced such a bloodbath as the S&P, I kind of am leaning to the fact that we may see much further downside, and so that would be a great weekly target. If you're a swing trader and you want to hold, that might be a nice range to look at for the week. Day trade, you know, like I was saying, right here, 139.15 would probably be a good area to look at. I would maybe even say a few pips lower than this low here. And I'll just maybe drop a line on here so you can kind of see what I'm thinking. But I would say, you know, if they're going to want to run price below that low, they're going to want to come down convincingly and take it at 139. So that would be a good target. So that's about a 100 pip target for tomorrow. Or sorry, for what day is it today? Tuesday. Sorry, kind of all over the map here today. But that would be a nice range on the day if we could get that. So that's sort of what I'm looking at. And we could even just see price dropping right from here. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you could do an aggressive entry in here. We're about 30 pips under. But you'd have to have the potential that, you know, you may have to have about a 50 pip stop on that thing and have price up at this 140.20 level here just in case. because they may want to just, for good measure, just stab price up there really quick. We actually had a gold trade on today. That's exactly what they did. And then they dropped it down for to hit our first target afterwards. And then, where's my gold chart? We had a trade somewhere in here. This was Monday, sorry, and the price ended up moving higher on us, but there would have been a nice 40 pips that we captured off of it. But I think it was somewhere right in here, and price just at the very last minute stabbed up and stopped us out for for the trade. But it is what it is, and they could want to do that in here, is what I'm saying. So they may just want to run it up and then just quick stab up and then drop it lower. So you got to be cognizant of that. So I wouldn't necessarily just jump into it right now, but I would definitely look for price to see what it does off of this line right here, the 138.86 level. If it doesn't really want to see any willingness to go higher, you could get short there and then let price run down, do its thing. And I think I honestly think that these are very, very realistic targets for the week. So we will watch and see how that transpires. I'll be on here for about another half an hour, so I'll keep coming back to that one here. But I want to talk about a couple other things that caught my eye. UJ, for one, if you guys were part of my live session there last week, I was talking about this, and so we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Maybe it was a couple of weeks ago. The price was sort of trading up in here, and I got a question from a gentleman who joined the session, and he said, "Well, what do you think UJ is going to do?" And price at the time was. One second here, guys. I just want to get some levels on here because all of my charts reset again on me, so I just need to get all the levels back on. And I'm not gonna do this one, but I'm just gonna eyeball it about the 50% level. Where the hell, about there. So anyway, price was, he was asking me when price was right in this consolidating area right in here, and I said to the guy, like, you typically don't want to be taking trades out of this area. They may just want to come rip it back up. You want to take the trades at the extreme levels. So I said, I would, if price is going to move down, I said, yeah, it may be right here, and yes, there could be 200 pips available for you if you got short on it, and if you didn't manage to get stopped out by all of these wicks that kept jamming up in here, you could capture a range in there. But I said I'm more inclined to take a trade off of these levels here when it comes back down, and that's exactly what it did. It came down, it hit these levels, and then it screamed up 200 pips. Now price did come back down, stab down, and again, where the US dollar, right, is the back currency of that, we'll see the exact same thing happen. So we've seen a nice drop on the US dollar, and the US yen had seen the exact same drop right there. Not quite as pronounced as the US dollar, because they have been keeping it in this consolidation range. But now the US dollar looks like it's bouncing higher, and I think that's what we're going to get on this pair. So price came down, to be honest with you, I think last week, but again, it was non-farm, so you don't want to be trading towards the end of last week. But this was Monday's candle here, and now we're into Tuesday's candle. Could be a good opportunity in here. I'm not going to put a signal out on this. I mean, I'll let you study this. I don't typically trade the UJ. I just got asked this a few times in a couple of different live sessions if there's a lot of UJ traders out there. So I guess they like the dollar yen for whatever reason. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll trade it every now and then myself, but I don't typically do a lot with it, and mainly only because of this, right? It's just been in this consolidation. I mean, this in here is terrible. You can't trade that crap, but since pretty much January, so it's just over a year now, it's been in this consolidating range. If price gets into something like this here, great, love trading that. These consolidations, and I don't really enjoy them that much, but if you can get a trade in at these outermost extremities and get short or get long or whatever, in this case, get long, there's a very nice healthy trade there that you could sit on, and you could day trade that all, for the next 2 or 3 weeks all the way up, 600 pips. Or you just set it and forget it and walk away and come back a month later, and price should hopefully be up around your target. But that's pretty much it in the consolidation. So And if they're going to want to break this, which again I don't think they will, because the U.S. dollar is starting to retrace higher. I think they're going to take this pair higher, and you can see now. I mean, you can see what they're doing. They came down, stabbed down, took out the liquidity under here convincingly. Did not break this low here. So you know, what do you got here? You got the price comes all the way down, makes a lower low, jams up one more time, comes down, takes the stops under here, creates the lowest low there, creates a lower low, and then came up and created a lower low right here. And now they're going to go higher. So, you know, it's a little bit late on the gun on this one here. If I don't know if you're a UJ trader, but this one would have been nice to enter right when this candle or this candle here was down. That's when you could have got long on that. So I was about, you know, pretty much when my my live session was supposed to start, and that could be a good time to get long. And again, I apologize for that. But that would have been a nice area to get long on, basically right in here. And that's kind of would have been your signal after price came down, chopped down, took out the final low, rebounded higher, came down, tested these old lows down in here, and then expanded higher again. And I would suggest that the first target on that, again, I'm not trading this, I'm not, you know, you guys do what you want to do, I'm not really putting a signal out for it, but 109.80 would be a pretty nice healthy level, I think, for it to reach to, what are we, 109, yeah, I mean, that's 80 pips away, and can definitely do it. Put on the day dividers here, if I look at this, crunch it up a little bit, you know, 100 and, I don't have an ATR on this, but it's about 120 pip ATR on average, I think, is the typical day. This was a big day. That was at 100. Oh, sorry, that was 120 pips as well too that day. I'm just kind of rambling out loud here. If you guys have any questions, I've got the question box open here, so you can jump on anytime there and ask me some questions. But anyway, so that's kind of what I'm thinking here. UJ. Yeah, I mean, you could get, if price wants to come back into this little tiny consolidation area right here, it might even be worth a long there too. If price ever wants to trade back down to the top of this box here, you might be able to get in for a good long right there, just depending on what it wants to do. If price trades down and wants to come back through this thing here, which it probably wouldn't, based on the dollar index, then you wouldn't have to worry it. Or I wouldn't worry about taking the trade, but you could potentially get in anytime on this guy here, and I would seek prices up to there. So that's UJ. The next one here is US CAD, and you remember I specifically said this pair wasn't showing weakness as much as the US dollar was. You can see here, like the US dollar has just been slamming down. Well, the US CAD, right? They had this thing in a consolidation forever, and then just slowly kind of, well, I shouldn't say slowly, this was a nice push down, but then you look at this crap in here, and it really consolidated in here for a couple of weeks, and just really did nothing, right? And then they kind of dropped it down a little bit, and then finally on Friday of last week, they were like, no, that's it, and then they started slamming it higher, and that was a 200 pip run from the lows, 270 pip run to where we are now. So I think right up here would be a great target. I want to see what price does though at 126.20 in here. So what this could do, this would be great for a great long if you guys are looking at taking a trade on the CAD. If you guys, I don't necessarily know if price will do this, but because this is pretty deep retracement, but this would be awesome if it did this. I don't think it's going to get down to there. You know, to be honest with you, let me just zoom in actually on a 1 hour chart. And I'm not putting out a signal for this either. I'm just suggesting I wouldn't even say down that low. I doubt it would get that low. But that could be a potential area where price may come down to. Ish. See, they had a chance to come down. You see how they ripped it up here, and then they had a chance to come down here and they didn't quite get back down to this old consolidation in here, and then they expanded it higher. I'm kind of thinking that maybe they won't get down that far as well, and that they're just gonna, whoever's gone short, they're just, oh, these trend lines are horrendous. Whoever's gone short in here, they're just gonna keep punishing them, and then and just run it higher. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they'll want to come all the way back down to here, but I definitely think this is going to be going long. I'm not putting the signal out because I haven't really trusted this pair lately, and because you can see this, like, this isn't, like, this is okay to trade. You can trade this in here, and then it just reversed out of nowhere and just started, you know, trickling higher, and then consolidated, and then started trickling lower, and then consolidated, and a little bit lower, and now it's back up again. So yeah, I'm not loving the CAD, but I think just as a you know, monthly prediction, I think this is probably where we're going to be heading here. And I was sort of calling levels to come back up here in here. I just didn't think they'd have this little drop down on this tail right here, but they just kind of took the liquidity out from under here, and then I think they're going to rip it higher. So that's the US CAD. I'm not going to talk about the Aussie dollar. This is seeing a nice pullback here as well too. Way ahead of actually the rest of them. You see the euro, like, this had a couple of days pulling back, and the pound dollar, you know, this, a lot of shrapnel on this chart here. This had 2 days pull back as well too. But the Aussie dollar, they really started pulling back, you know, about a week ago or more, and then it just had a couple of real big, like, that was Friday. That was a big down day. And then, you know, like, that's a nice, I mean, for the Aussie, right? I mean, that's, you know, 250 pip range. So there could be a small bounce in here that we may have already seen the bounce. You see this wick on this candle right here? That could have been the bounce already, and then they're just going to start taking price down here. But again, if we're going to go in line with the same theory as the dollar going up, this is going to be going down, and I would suggest these targets in here are going to be very conservative as first targets for you know, areas to get tagged. So that's the Aussie dollar. Crude oil. I'm still bullish crude oil. I think overall they want to take it higher. Like, I'm really hoping price is going to get up into these areas in here. But I think they may want to be pulling this thing down a little bit further. And I think my eye goes to right away here, this small consolidation area here, and then there's another tiny little consolidation area there. And then we've got this area in here, and this isn't a consolidation area, but I'm just saying potentially, you know, this range down here could get tagged if they want to drop prices lower, which would be great for a nice long down in here. I don't necessarily, the price of crude oil has been smashed. It had a nice run here, but like, if they brought it all the way down to $24. And so I think we've seen the low end of the prices on crude oil, and this was a nice range up, and I think it's time for a nice little correction on crude oil. I mean, I could definitely see that happen. So I'm going to be looking for some shorts on crude, and you can see prices come down, traded up higher, broke through the consolidation, failure swing up here, and now we've traded lower than this low in here. So the next lows I'm looking at here, which is going to be the top of this consolidation area in here. And I think we could see that today. So I just want to see if I can't get a level on this. It'd be great if they traded back up to this low over here and then dropped it from there. But you could see some spikes. Crude definitely tends to wick a bit. You can see here, these couple big wicks in there, big wicks in here, big long wick in there, another one in here. So you could get something like that happen. I just don't want to put in a short signal on this one quite yet. I think it could come up a little bit higher into here potentially, I'm looking, and then if price wants to continue going up from here, then I'd be looking at maybe the lows in this consolidation over here would be a potential target. I don't think they want to bring it all the way back. If they did, it'd be awesome, because I mean, you could get short all over that, no problem, and you could ride it all the way down, capture all this move, and then I'm looking, like I say, I'm looking over into here. So I think that would be, you know, 62.20 would be a great level if they wanted to take it down there. So a couple bucks lower than what it is now. But I'm gonna watch this one. We're gonna wait and see. The pound dollar, rip back to this quick. Yeah, see, so it's starting to sweep higher a little bit. It hit that, it hit this low in here now, and it kind of is thinking about it. I'm going to flip down to 15. I'm going to get rid of this guy here, trying to clean up some of the shrapnel here. So you can see how price is just running up, failing, running up, failing, running up, so far failing. I'm just a little hesitant to put a short in right here. I don't want to miss the trade necessarily, but look at the euro. See, look at this thing. Come up, wicked. It's the high. That's a coincidence. Not really. Coming up and banging right into the bottom of this old consolidation area right in here. Nice big area of resistance right here. I wonder. I'd be curious to. I'd be surprised to see if it pushed up higher than this today. Go back to the U.S. dollar. See, this is seeing a nice little pullback into this top of the consolidation area right in here. So there could be. Okay, so what I'm saying here is, if you go back to the dollar, price could, and I mean it could come back up to this area in here, and I would say more specifically in here, like, I don't think it would get down that low. I think honestly it's going to be one of two. Oh my god, these trend lines. It drives me crazy when I can't get them straight. But I would say somewhere in there. If they want to take it lower, this could be it. That could be the low end, and they could start taking it higher. If they want to come lower than this, well, I would go to here and to here automatically, and I would see if price has any willingness to go further than that. If it wants to go further than that, then you can basically cancel everything I said about this thing going long, because it's going to go back down again. But I don't necessarily think that's the case, because you can see they've just taken it up really, really nicely the past couple of hours there. And I think we're going to see it higher. So if it does come down, so what I'm driving at here is, if this does come down and pull back into here, the euro, we could see, look at that wick. Wow. We could see this come up, and if they want to drive the US dollar down a little bit more, we could see this come up here and potentially go for these highs here as a maybe, you know, I doubt it, but and then I highly doubt it would go any higher than this consolidation range in here. I'd be very surprised, and I'll just put that in here. There's a bit of a range sort of right in here that I'm looking at. I don't think they'd want to take it higher than that, but price may just be coming up and then dropping down and then falling out. So, but what I'm driving at here is there's a real tight area with the pound dollar here versus the euro, which you can, they do have some tight trading here, but it's come down, it's taken it out, come down, taking the low out again, and then now it's had a nice run back up, and they're moving this one around a little bit more than they're moving this one around. So just kind of leading me to believe that maybe the trade might be in the euro, and that's kind of what I was leading to before, saying that you know, they'll typically hold one pair and let the other one run. That could be what we're seeing here a little bit. So I want to see how this develops a little bit further, and there could be some higher movement on this guy here, somewhere in here. So we'll watch that. I discussed crude. Any of you guys got any Bitcoin out there? Any left? I don't know. I mean, I did not get into Bitcoin. To be honest with you, I would never, ever buy Bitcoin ever when price was going through this hype up in here. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's not like, I mean, I don't think Bitcoin is like the S&P. I mean, this is, you know, the S&P, yeah, you know, you could pretty much have bought anywhere in here other than, right, these areas here after it got taken out today and been profitable. But Bitcoin, you know, you can see like this thing is diving down. It has taken everybody out of the market. If you go back to my previous live sessions, and I mean, God, live sessions, my weekly reviews, I mean, for the past 60 days, I've been saying this thing is going to be dropping, and look what it's doing. So I identified a couple of levels. I said I wanted to see what it was going to do when it hit these levels in here. And I got a little bit of a gap in the data on the chart here. And you know what? I might just fire up another I was going to fire up another feed to just double check the levels, but I actually just second guessing myself. I don't necessarily think it has Bitcoin on it as the data as an option, so I might not be able to do that for you. But this doesn't exist. If you look at it, like you know what? Here, let's do this. One second, guys. I'm just bringing up a price chart, and I want to show you a couple of levels here. Just and all I'm saying here is you just got to double check your data feeds just to make sure that you are you have the same. So okay, so I'm going to bring this over here, and I'm just going to shrink this up if I can. I wish I could get rid of this. How do I do that here? Can't get rid of that. Can I slide this over? Yes, I can. Perfect. So, and then I'll just do a chart shift there, and okay. So you can see what I'm driving at here. So you see this level here, right in here on this. This is what is this? TradingView.com, one of their charts. You can see here, this is just 1, 2, 3 solid bars up. This is a bit of a gap in my data feed that's missing here, so it's always nice to verify. Like I've been saying it before, for all you new traders out there, if you see this, that's not necessarily always a gap in price. In this case, it traded right down to it, but that was kind of one of the levels that I wanted to see hit first and then see what it did. And you see what it did here. This was Friday, came down, slammed down, wicked through, and then closed higher. You definitely don't necessarily always want to get long in those areas there, because look what it did Monday, yesterday's candle, and now today, that candle that we're on now, we're going lower here. So I had said I want to see what happens when price slams into this 8,300 mark. Saw it, confirmed it's going lower, you know, I'll just keep this guy up here for just a second. You know, we've got some levels down here, so the next level being the 5,000s, mid 5,000 levels. If price wants to continue to go lower than that, Jesus, like this thing is going to go 4,000, and then there's another low under here at 3,200. So who knows how far they want to drop this thing down. If price doesn't want to reverse basically right from where it's at right now, I would even permit maybe, see how there's kind of equal lows coming in here. Prices come down in this small consolidation range in here, come down, failed to penetrate the consolidation area, and then basically smashed higher from there. I could see them wanting to come down and just wick under here, come out, take out the stops in these two areas here basically. And if we don't see a price bounce, like if price goes lower than 5,000, at the top of this old high over here, if price goes lower than that, then you can easily expect, I think, 3,000 to be sort of the next target on the hit list. Who knows how much they want to sink this thing? Like I say, it's a manipulated market now. I think the banks, you can see, the banks are all now getting involved in this, and every trader is offloading. You know, every retail investor who came into this market is now, you know, if they haven't sold their positions, they're scared. They're getting rid of them now as fast as they possibly can before they lose any more of their money. And, you know, those overnight instant millionaire, Bitcoin millionaire people are probably millionaires no more. Hopefully some of them are, and they cashed out when you know, price was up here. But the ones that didn't, they're paying the price. And then I think they're going to keep sinking this here. So, again, I think this is I have nothing wrong with cryptocurrencies. I think it's the wave of the future. I like it, and I would love to get on board on this on the next run up, because I think it's going to be higher, longer, and be more sustained. But I'm sure not going to be buying it up in here, and I'm sure as hell not going to be buying it down here until I see how far they want to take this thing down. And basically what will confirm that for me is if price were to do something kind of like... what would be a good example? Let's get rid of this. Oh, God. Okay. Something like this. You see how price came in here So sort of consolidating sideways and finally ripped higher, came out higher high, traded down lower than this old area in here, and then it kind of came back down into this old consolidation area back over here. Once price traded in there, so what I'm saying here is once price traded down here and then expanded away from there and then came back down one more time, that's where you'd get long. That would be the confirmation. As soon as price failed to get lower than here, that's where you want to go. That's where you want to go long. So we come back to here now. Price comes in, let's say, I don't know where it's going to stop. I'm just, hypothetically speaking. Let's say price comes down, takes out these two lows here and comes, let's say, down to the top of this high over here at 4,800. Well, price comes down, slams into it, and then starts trading away from it. What my trigger is going to be is when price comes back down one more time and fails to go lower than there, that's where you'd be getting long, and that's your entry, and then that's when you hold it and it goes to, I don't know, 20,000. That would be your first target. So that's what I'm waiting on. There's no rush. You definitely don't want to rush in trading. That's when you start losing money, and that's when all the problems start. So you definitely do not rush trades. You don't chase price or anything like that. There's always opportunities to get in. You just have to be patient and wait. Now, case in point, that's Bitcoin. There's not a whole lot much more I can say about Bitcoin. If you got any questions about Bitcoin, now's the time. I got the chat window up here right now, so just ask me. But that's my thoughts on Bitcoin. So I think, like I say, if price breaks down, and I'll just mark these out here now. So this could be the first target. So what it's doing here, I want to see if it wants to take these lows here, and then kind of rebound off the top of this consolidation, and so basically do this. If I can draw this out, so come down, hit there, and then convincingly trade higher off of that. Right, do something like this, and then come back down one more time, sort of like a failure swing, right? And then this is right in here. That's where you get long, and then who knows where it goes, if that's what it wants to do. Price could very easily, like I say, just keep coming, because, like I say, after those lows here, there's this low down here, and that's at 3,000 basically. And a sub 3,000, sorry, and if they want to take it down there, who knows where they want to take it from there. But that's kind of what I'm looking at anyway for Bitcoin. So we'll see what materializes there. I'm not going long. You could go short. I mean, you could, right? I'm not suggesting it, but you could. And I put out a signal for this right here. See how price was chopping in here? This was about a week ago ish, and what I wanted to see was price actually do this. I wanted to see a bit deeper of a pullback up here. So you see how price was banging around in here? I actually wanted to see price trade off of the low up here. See that candle low there? That's what I was looking at for a short. It didn't give it to me, unfortunately. It's too bad. I was hopeful right here. See how price came in, finished down, and then gapped up and started going up here. Excuse me. I was hoping that price would have done this and just sort of banged off of there, and then obviously I knew that the subsequent downturn was going to get real deep. But that was my signal that I actually put out, and it gapped up and then just fell out of bed right from there. I didn't even look back for a second, unfortunately. So those are the breaks, but I knew it was going short. I called it well in here. I mean, when price was coming down here, I called it. That was weird. Sorry guys, I'm here. I don't know if you're still there though, if you just got kicked off. Give me 1 second. I just had my just give me a yes if you guys can still hear me. You guys still there? Maybe just hit F5 or something and refresh your, well, if you can't hear me, that's not going to help much, but I just did a test and it says I'm still going, but if you guys want to let me know if you are still there, that would be much appreciated. And just give me a yes in the chat. So, if you guys want. I don't know if you can still hear me or not. I'm going to keep going and pretend that you can. I'll just maybe just shoot out the link one more time. And that way just click on either Facebook or Twitter and you can rejoin the link there if you don't have it. But anyway, that's Bitcoin. S&P, discussed this a little bit here. Who knows what they're going to want to do on it. I'd love to go short on it, but I'm not going to yet until price comes up to either here or right there. So we're going to wait and see what happens there with S&P. So I want to see what happens on that, but I think we could see something like this occur if they want to keep taking this thing down, and who knows where it wants to go. I mean, they've been riding that thing up quite a bit. Could come down in there somewhere. Who knows? So I mean, it's done it before, right? I mean, I don't think the S&P is ever. Right? Look at this. That's a weekly. That's a big drop. Right? So that's a big one. That was 2008, obviously. So hopefully we're not seeing another 2008 happening here. But that is a very, very big drop. I don't know why that's not working, but anyway. So that's pretty much about it. Copper. I'm looking for shorts in copper, but this is just so ugly to trade. You really can't trade that there. Cocoa. This was an example of patience. So I had called this market up here and it hit the target. I wasn't in the trade. I ended up getting impatient and I actually moved my stop up, and then this wick right down in here took me out. On the one day I got in, where did I get in? Came down here. I got in, I can't remember, it was either this candle here. I'm still talking about this stupid trade. It was either this one here or this one here. I can't remember which candle, but we'll call it that one. And price came down once and it started to go up, and I thought, oh, okay, this is perfect, it's finally going. So I moved my stop up a bit, and then 1, 2, 3 days later it came down, stopped me out, and then continued higher. So missed out on a nice move, but it went to exactly where I said it was going to go. So I want to see what happens here. I would love if price did this. If price came down here, you know, today or tomorrow, and then did one of those, and you know, this being your target, that would be wonderful. You could look at some longs, taking some longs in there, but I've done a bunch of research, and I've got about 2 or 3 different groups left of commodities that I'm looking at, and I'm going to release a video that is going to outline exactly what seasonalities all of the commodities are in, and whether they're bullish or bearish, or should be buying or selling or staying neutral on them. So I'm just in the middle of doing that. I will have that finished tomorrow. I'm not doing a live session tomorrow. My other analyst is. So he'll be doing the London Open session at midnight again, and so I get the night off, and I'll be doing that commodity video, so you'll be able to see that 100% coming out tomorrow. So I'll let you know when that comes. So that's this. Coffee, there's no trade there. I didn't see anything. Cotton's coming down nicely here. Has a nice little retracement. I'm going to do some more analysis in there. And I think, yeah, here it was here. So sugar, look what this thing did today. This was yesterday. It hasn't opened yet. I put these targets in here pre-hand because this is, I think, going to be a nice little move. I want to see price come back down though to this 1355 level here, and then get in for a long and then go higher. It just really came in. It had a failure swing over here, came down, and I was calling this. I said, I want to see what price does in here. And then it ran up. It gave me the entry right here. This big black candle down there, it gave me the entry. But guess what? My stupid laptop was in the shop getting fixed, and I didn't get in on this move. It was, I didn't have any access. I had access to my phone, but I'm not going to do a trade like this off of my phone. I needed... So anyway, I missed this trade, unfortunately, and I apologize. Just one of those things. Shit happens. So I'm hoping to get in this thing again. And I put the signals out. I put the levels out here so you can watch. And I'll just so you know, long entry. And I will be uploading this to the website as well too. So all you members, and I'll be doing some detailed commentary on it as well too. So you can get all the information, but that's what I'm looking at here. I want price to come back down, slam into here, and then and I put my stop under that wick. See that wick right there? I put my stop right under there, and these would be the levels that we're looking at. So this would be target 1, target 2, and then target 3. And yes, I'm going to write all these out. And spell them wrong, apparently, as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. I want to see price, and this could take a little while. I don't necessarily think this is going to happen, you know, in a week. Because, like, you see this, like, it took this guy here. I mean, this has been... that's all most of January. You know, 3 weeks of January took to do that, so I would expect the same amount of time. So there's plenty of time to get in this move. No rush. Definitely don't buy it right there. Whatever you do, don't buy it where it's at, you know, when it opens. I want to see it open tomorrow, come down back into this consolidation area right here. It may even trigger off of the high of that candle there as well too at 1360. So I'm going to be watching that 1360 to 1355 area for a long entry, and I'll be going off. And sorry, when I say tomorrow, I mean at CME Open at 8:20 a.m. New York time. So in about 8 hours, just a little under 8 hours from now, that's when I'd be watching. So that is that. And I'm not going to do anything. This is the Dow Jones, another monster, right? Monster crash there, crude oil, and sorry, that's orange juice, so there's nothing in there that I'm looking at right now. Potentially. Maybe I'm lying. Let me have a look at this. Failure swing here, but price really ran off of here, and I didn't see much of a pullback. And then we've got some levels over here that have been hit. And that's the high that came right into those guys there. Which is interesting. So if they're going to want to take this thing lower, we're going to see right here, because price will come down to this consolidation area. Right here. And if it's going to go lower, it's going to push through that. And then take out this low here, but I want to see that could be a potential for a long. I have to check the seasonality on orange juice though, and find out where we're at. I guess I could do that right now. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna bring up a chart, and I will have you the information in about 2 seconds here. There it is there, orange juice. Yeah, see, January to February, end of February, it's moderately bearish, almost a sideways, and then there's a nice little kind of a early part of March, you might get some bullish action, but orange juice doesn't really happen until October. And orange juice here, you can see what I say, October. Very nice bullish move here in October. Very nice bullish move in October. Actually started in September. And read about on Q. Yeah. So orange juice may be a no-go because there's not really a whole lot of action going on, so we could see lower prices on orange juice, so no trade there. Okay, that's it. I'm done for the night. Thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate that. Make sure you guys go to our Instagram account at Future45 Trade Signals. You can also find us at Twitter, on Twitter at F45 Trading. Very, very simple to find, and we will see you there. Make sure you sign up to the website as well too. It's free for 30 days for now, which will be changing. I'm going to start offering only a 2-week free trial, starting I think the early March. So you got about 3 weeks to get in now while you can. Sign up, free for 30 days, and then $55 a month after that. Sorry, 55. That was the discount. It's actually gone up. So if you didn't get in on the first wave of open spots, it's now actually $75 a month to join our signal service, and you'll be getting detailed information and signals on several trades, live trades, right to your phone, so you can work with us in the market. There's chat window, or there's where is it here? There's chat rooms, live trader chat rooms. There's signal broadcast channels. So you're always got information at the tip of your finger, so you can get in, enter your trade, be profitable right away, all the time. So way you go. That's what I'm looking at. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate that. I'm gonna call her a night, and I will catch up to you again Thursday morning, 12 a.m. New York time for the London session. And that'll be me, and then there's another session tomorrow, same time, 12 a.m. London Open, New York time. So we will see you then. Thanks very much.